Welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, the drips of knowledge you need to start growing.
Hey, welcome. So I'm going to start this podcast out by asking 3 questions. 1, would you like your customers, when they buy from you and someone says, oh, that's a cute blank, or I love that, or whatever it may be, that they say, yeah, I bought it from this shop, and then talk about your shop? Or would you rather have them say, I bought it from Etsy? Did I say I was going to ask 3 questions? Because I think that question's great. I'm going to ask you 1 question, that question. If your answer is, no, I want them to say my shop, then that's what I'm going to talk about today. That's what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you how do you get someone to recognize your shop and give credit to your shop. Because do you know who's not helping you do that? Etsy. Etsy knows the most powerful thing for them is if someone says, I bought this on Etsy, because then that markets Etsy. And Etsy doesn't give 2 flying Fs whether they buy it from you or they buy it from Joe Blow down the street, as long as they're buying it on Etsy. The money's the exact same. So whether you provide that experience for their customer or someone else does it, doesn't matter. I bought this on Etsy is what they want to hear. This is why when you go to fill out your about page, it's like, great, tell us all about your shop. And we're going to bury it underneath all the reviews. It is buried. And why? Doesn't it feel important? Isn't that what Etsy's supposed to be? Handmade and about, sure. But Etsy knows the best thing that Etsy can get is if someone says, I bought it on Etsy. So your job as a shop owner is to not let Etsy do that, because there is advantages to people recognizing your store. Just think about being able to brand online. Think about going to a store and being offered 2 things. One is a brand you love and one is a brand you don't know anything about. We tend to lean towards the brands that we love. In fact, most advertisers know this. They spend I might have shared this before. The cutoff for a lot of age demographics is 35. And there is a shift in your ads at 35. So if you are below 35 listening to this podcast, you are getting the most budgets spent towards you, because you are most likely to be moldable into being loyal to brands. And once you're above 35, you start to focus on the brands that made you the happiest in your life. And those are the brands that you trust. So they spend a lot of money below 35 to try to earn that trust so that you will be with them for life. And I knew this. And so when I turned 35, I was like, I'm going to keep an eye out for it. And I noticed it quick. It was entertaining to see how much the ads shifted at that age demographic. So this has nothing to do with anything other than, let's go back to, building that brand with people is what allows people to continue to shop with you. Etsy does all they can to prevent that. I'm going to teach you how to do it. So step 1, you need to not just rely on an about page. In fact, fill it out. Don't ever look at it again. You're going to share your about in your listings. That's where people do their shopping. Now, I want you to listen to this whole podcast because this is important. I don't want you to say, great, I'm going to move my about page into my listings. Done. You're going to bug people if you do that, because nothing's worse than going through and looking at products that you're going to potentially buy, and then someone pops up with a picture of them chit-chatting about how they started making jewelry when they were 15 years old, and no. I shouldn't say there's nothing worse. That's fine. It's just not the ideal use of that space. Because if we get in there and we just start to tell our about story, guess what we're doing? We're we're derailing, that's the word, their journey to then say, let me tell you about me. And that doesn't work very well in sales. If you just think about it, if you're sitting across a table and you're having a conversation with someone about sales, and all of a sudden they derail themselves over to, well, let me tell you why you should trust me. That can seem a little weird. That should be integrated in the conversation. You should be building trust as you go. And then when you get done, you're like, I trust this person. I can't put my thumb on why I trust this person, but I do. That's what we want to accomplish. That trust is what you build a brand off of. Like, that's what that means. When someone's like, I'm going to build a brand, it's like, what is that? Sure, brand recognition is involved in there, but the truth is, it's trust in that brand. Because I'm not going to go sign up for the Coney 2012. Gosh, I can't believe I pulled that one out. Was it Coney? Kono? Man, that was crazy. Why am I not going to trust that? Well, because that brand fell and burned. And no thanks. But there are brands that I do trust. And when they do certain things, I'm like, oh, I'm interested in that because I've had really positive experiences with this. But what is that? It's trust. Trust. If you're going to sell something, you have to build trust. People have to trust that you're going to give them what you promise, that it's going to be okay, and that you can make right if something was not. And if they feel that with you, they then move forward. Think about hiring someone, a plumber, or anything like that. It's trust. Okay. Now that you've got that beaten into your mind, let's talk about how you need to say it and when you need to say it. So let's talk the win first. That's W-H-E-N. But we can, if you want, you can do W-I-N as well, because it is a win. When you're going to place your about, can't just derail the conversation of, here I am, I'm buying something, and great. Let me tell you about why I started making jewelry when I was 15 years old. You're just like, okay, no, I need to know. I'm in the middle of buying here. And so if I'm just on and all of a sudden you just start chit-chatting about yourself, this isn't going to work. This is not how no. What we need to be warmed up. We need to have questions answered, and we need to be at our spot where we're justifying the purchase. So this is important. We make decisions emotionally. So, for example, I'm looking at cushions for my couch, and I'm saying, oh, I like that. Oh, I think that's going to look good. I think my neighbors are going to appreciate this. I think my husband's going to like this. I think my wife is going to like this. I think my mother-in-law has commented on my pillows before, but I think this will do really well. Oh, I want to paint our room and I want to redo it all. I think this is going to help with. Those are all emotional thoughts that people are having. They're thinking about what their life is going to be like with this and why they need this product emotionally. They then move into a logical standpoint. And usually that follows or can be pushed. Well, let me rephrase that. Based on what they're buying. So in store cushions, couch cushions, that's an emotional purchase. Unless all their cushions burned in a fire and they need cushions today. Then it becomes more of a logical purchase. But in this scenario, it's like, no, I'm just updating. So then you say, emotionally, I love this. Now logically. And so you start to play the logic game. Well, like, oh, these are better than the ones I have now. They'll be more comfortable. I think they make the couch more comfortable. Like that's your logic brain starting to kick in. Then you get into your justification mode, which is to say, it's an invite to the seller to say, help me be excited about this purchase. Help me justify this in my mind. And so if we just show pictures of the product, we're missing that stage. Your about page can help justify. Before I jump into this, let me share this really quick. My product was multifunctional. So I knew if I can get them to see this and be like, oh, this is really cool. I really like this. I love that. And start thinking emotionally. I then moved them into logic. Look, this is how this works. This is why this is great. This is what it's going to do for your life. And they were like, oh, wow, that is an upgrade to what I currently do. And then I drop in the justification. For me, it was multifunctional. Because like, if they're like, oh, I love that, but yeah, it's a little bit more expensive than I wasn't planning on spending that money or whatever it may be. I'm like, hey, it actually does these other things. And ding, 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 ding. Because then at that stage, they're like, oh, I would have to buy 4 different products to do what this one product does. And I'd have to pay more money than what this one product does. Of course I need to buy this product. Because I'm going to save money. Bingo. Justified. Hit it. So not all of us have this luxury. So we got to go back to, there's these nudges that we can give that help people fulfill the justified need that someone has at checkout. One of those is your about page. Now, before you're like, what are you talking about? Just know it's your about page, and it's going to take place somewhere after the logic and emotional, which means we're looking around that 6 spot, that 7 spot. So sorry for anyone who has middle school kids that I just dropped a 6-7 in the middle of this podcast. But around that 6-7, oh, I did it again, spot is where you're going to drop this slide. Now, what's on that slide? Great question. I'm glad you asked. I need you to write in really small font your life story. Please start as far back as you can remember and push it all the way to present. No. This is what it is. And I think this when I say this, you're going to go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. It isn't about you. Your about page should and never be about you. It is about your vision. Your vision. This is what you're trying to accomplish. This is the hurdle that you're trying to jump over. This is how you want to see the world be a better place because of what you sell. And if someone is going through this and reads your vision and aligns with your vision, guess what you just did? Number one, you built trust because you connected with someone. So I'm walking down the street. I don't have a dog, but let's say I have a dog and someone else's dog comes over and starts to sniff my dog and we start to chit chat and our dogs are smelling and we both say friendly and they see, yeah, friendly. And what happened? We built trust with each other. The dogs built trust with each other. We had this relationship where we got to sniff and we got to see we're common. Though we would have never stopped and talked to each other in real life. I didn't see him at the grocery store. I'm not going to walk up and chit chat, but our dogs connected us. And now we have this trust with one another. You're doing something similar when you're taking a product that they're looking at. Yeah, someone's looking at buying a bracelet. And then all of a sudden you get introduced into this picture. It's similar to this dogs are sniffing. You just happen to be in the same vicinity as each other and dogs are sniffing each other. So you're going to come in with this, not saying, let me tell you about my life story, but instead saying, hey, this is why I make these. This is what I'm trying to overcome. This is my vision. And you're helping me get there. And if they say, yeah, I subscribe to that. I love that. You've used a boring about page and created a brand. Because suddenly when that bracelet comes to them, they remember something. They remember your vision. Do you know what they won't remember? Your about story. This is why you don't get on there and tell them your origin story. It's your vision that you want to share. So now, wait, Jared, I don't understand how to do that. Well, hey, you are asking great questions. Let me answer that. So let's go to a POD store. A POD store, they're going to make shirts, clothing, whatever. You don't want to say, hey, I'm a graphic designer. No. Which, listen, there's nothing wrong with dropping a line of like, I went to cartoon school or, something along the lines that gives you some credibility. I don't mind that. And I always tell my students or the people I'm working with to have this picture when you tell the story, be in a place that they can't be. Meaning, if I'm buying something that's lasered, and I'm buying an engraved thing for my dog, take a picture in your work environment. Show the equipment that you have. That kind of stuff. Because what that does for me is like, oh, I can't do that myself. So I'm glad I'm buying something of someone who has invested in this kind of stuff. If you're a potter, I need to see all your stuff. If you are someone who's making jewelry, I need to see that stuff. If you're a graphic designer, I want to see your computer open with all your software and all that stuff. That's how you present your vision, is you're showing, look at what I'm doing. This is my workspace. And that allows me to see as the consumer, oh, I don't have access to these things, or that looks complicated, or and it just helps me see you as an authority. It also builds trust. Because are you just someone from buying stuff from China and sending it to me? Or are you working? Am I hiring you to make something for me? And if we can get someone to feel that way, that's positive. So again, if we go back to our POD stuff, you can promote that you're against big brand mass production clothing with no personality. And so you want to make shirts that people feel real and not factoried or whatever. Or you can talk about that you want people to wear clothes that mean something to them. And so you've gone out to do this. Because what happens is if I'm shopping and I see something like that and it's like, this shirt is meant to make you feel something when you wear it. And when people read it, they need to feel things as well. And that's what I wanted to do with my shirts. I wanted to create shirts that made people feel things. If you're reading that, you're like, yeah, I agree with that. I love that. And I want people to feel things when they read my shirts. And ding, you've connected a wire of, this isn't just a shirt anymore. This is a vision. And I'm part of the vision. You know, you've heard this term. This is what they use in online marketing. And I hate it. They call it a tribe. Get people to join your tribe. I don't know when that became a trigger word, but that's what they use. Part of your tribe, one of them. And so the way you do that is you align a vision that they can get behind. I love that. I want to be part of that. If you make wreaths for the front door, you could easily say, hi, I'm Tina. That's a real person who makes wreaths for the front door. Hi, I'm Tina. I make wreaths for the front door. I've been making these in my basement in my garage. I think she's in her garage. In my garage for the last 10 years, and I love making wreaths. Boring. What you can say is, I love warm, welcoming people. I love a warm welcome. I love a home that just is open door for people, and I wanted to create something that added to that warmth. I wanted to create something that lets people know that you are grateful that they're at their front, that they are at your front door. And so I've started making these wreaths to help push that narrative out, so people who love to have company and welcome people can hang these on their door. Ding, 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 ding. Because now what that is someone is going to say, I love that. I love that that's what you're doing, and I want to support that. So now are they just buying a wreath, or are they buying this movement, this vision that you have? And I want to help you. So then what happens is, once they receive that product, you double down. Hey, this is what my vision is. Thank you for helping me fulfill this vision. If you have any pictures of you and your new welcoming front door, I'd love to see it. Now you've got content, because you didn't just say, send me a picture of your wreath and I'll give you a $5 coupon. They're part of a movement. So you'll notice people do things when they believe in things, but they don't like to be told to do things. So all you're doing is presenting it in a way of, this is what I'm trying to do. This is why I have this shop. And they make the decision of, I want to support that. I think I'll put this in the show notes. I think a great formula for you, if you are struggling, I think there's probably two different directions you could go. One is just to say, what makes me different than my competitors? One of the things we always talk about is, what makes, a question I ask is like, why would I choose you? What is it about you? What is it that and if you understand your target audience and you understand this stuff, this is going to be a pretty easy thing for you. If you are struggling with this and you're like, man, I don't know. A good kind of generic formula is to say, the world has too much blank problem. We'll just put problem there. I create product so people can experience better future. And so I'll put the formula in there so you can see it, because how I just said it sounds weird. But that's going to give you the most generic version of a vision, but it's better than your about page. So, and then you may be asking, Jared, should I put this in my about page? My answer is yes. About pages are vision pages. Align a vision. Okay. Side note, it's March 6th. This is the month I start opening up registration for my mastermind. My mastermind is one time a year it opens, and it is a year-long program. So if you can't miss this. You can't sleep on this, because it literally, you'd have to wait a whole nother year. And I usually get more people who sign up than what I take, because I keep the groups small. So that way it's an efficient working group. This will be my third year doing it. I feel like every year I'm doing it, I'm getting better and better at streamlining this thing. If you are a shop that can see the benefits of working together with not just myself, but with other Etsy shops, because this is why I don't have this as a coaching program. I have this as a mastermind, which means I bring people in, and I've loved this year's group. I've had people selling on Amazon. I've had people who do wholesale. I've had people who have employees. And they're all together. And so when someone says, I think I'm ready to hire someone, instead of just being like, I don't really know what I'm doing, they can say, how do I do this? What does this look like? How do I structure my business for this to work? How should I start it? How should I dabble in it? What are things that you could have done that you didn't do? What are things that you regret? What are things that you would have done sooner? And they get that information. And I sit there and watch this and think to myself, this is so valuable. And I watch people move so much faster in their business because they're able to pick the brains of people and get advice. And even if someone hasn't gone through, like I had one of my guys in his mastermind, he's coming up with a second business idea. As he's just been working, his brain has just said, look, I see a niche that I can tackle. No one has done what he's doing, but he's able to just come to this group and be like, what do you guys think of this prototype? And use this as something to bounce off of. And it has been, I imagine, very valuable to have that kind of information and that access to things. And then on top of that, it's organized by myself. And so we have times where we come and we meet, and then there's times where I do workshops and we talk about the nitty-gritty of things. Like this last one I think I shared with you is about what our abandoned cart emails look like and how do we structure those and what works best and what wording is better here and this whole thing. And so every month we're working on something that's going to build their shop while helping them grow their Etsy shop. And so there's two different directions that go with this. We're part of a WhatsApp group. We're all in it. They have one-on-one access to me. They get obviously free access to the school group. Everything that I've ever made, they have free access. It is my all hands on deck. Everything I have to help you grow your Etsy shop. You get it all. Opens up once a year. If you're on the fence, just put your name on the list. And then let me talk to you. I'll talk to you. And we'll go back and forth. And I'm not going to high pressure sales you into anything. I usually my list is bigger than what I can take. I just want to share with you the opportunity and have you make a decision of whether or not you feel like this is going to be something that your business and your life needs. But I'm telling you, it is very, very, very difficult to find something that's going to be specific for Etsy shops and where you guys are in your shop. That's going to provide as much community. Except I don't like the word community because it's friends. It's just a small group. And relatability with high-end coaching, with direction, with step-by-step stuff that's going to allow you to really develop. I'm so passionate. I think my voice just squeaked. It's really going to make you grow. So I have some big ideas for like I said, this is my third year. I have some big ideas that I'm wanting to implement and get going, and some things that I can see, okay, this would work better if I did it this way, and yada, yada, yada. So I'm really excited for this next year, and I would love if you'd be a part of it. So there's a link in the description. It's only asks for your name and email and Etsy shop. That's it. If you have some interest, sign that thing up. I'll send you some information and we can go from there. Okay, looking forward to working with you. If you're listening to this and you're like, yes, that's me, I'm looking forward to working with you. All right, see ya.